2016 has been a great year for university research projects that not only engage with the public through the fieldwork that helps deliver them, but also makes a tangible difference to the lives of real people up and down the country. In the second of the biannual Engage Awards, organised and run by the National Coordinating Centre for Public Engagement, 18 varied, inspiring and significant projects spanning 6 categories were nominated at the NCCPE's 2-day Public Engagement Conference in Bristol. The Engage Conference looked at how higher education can continue to work with external partners to deliver successful research, and the nominees discovered at the award ceremony held on the first evening whether their project had won. One of the runners-up in the individual-led category, which celebrates projects owned and delivered in large part by one person, was an innovative scheme that gave 7 families with prepayment electricity meters on one estate the opportunity to see what difference solar energy would make to their attitudes to energy consumption. Take 7 was led by Nicolette Fox at the University of Sussex, and I caught up with her after the 2016 Engage Awards to get her to talk more about her work.
Take 7 followed 7 families over 10 months, 4 seasons, looking at what happened when they were given solar energy by their social housing landlord, and the kind of really tracking their journey over that period.
Were the results what you expected?
I'm not really sure I had particular expectations about the results. What I found was that the families engaged with the solar energy fairly quickly. They got them in the summer, and within a few weeks most of them were seeing real benefits to that in terms of their energy bills from using using power during the day. It changed slightly over the winter, as obviously solar power is affected by the sun and so on, so there's less solar power during the winter. Having said that, around half of those families still continue to make some savings over the winter, because they carried on with their routines. They carried on doing their washing and during the day, and if there was solar being produced, then they were kind of benefiting from that. We also saw with some of the households as they started to get engaged with the issue around the solar power, and they were looking at other ways that they could carry on saving money over the winter. So one woman particularly saved a significant amount of money, actually, probably, I can't remember offhand, but round about I think £20 a week on her electricity bill over the winter, because she started to not only use the solar power, but she started to think about when she was using other electricity. For example, she brought her meal times forward to with her and her husband to eat with the children, so she wasn't putting the oven on twice a day, and that was really significant for her. She said, she told me about how it made a big difference that she could afford to buy her son shoes when he needed them. In a way, she was worried about that before.
Wow, so it really did have a fundamental impact on real lives, didn't it?
On some of those families, yeah, definitely.
And what do you think the effect was of having the solar panels? Do you think that was something that they would ever have considered having? Because they didn't have access to them originally, did they?
Oh, no, it was interesting, actually. Right at the start of the study, when you talked about them, they actually saw solar panels very much associated with people who own their own homes, and kind of posh is what I think one of the words they used. Never saw it as part of having on a social housing estate. Having said that, what was really also interesting, within a very short space of time, that kind of started to change very quickly, and actually became part of the community, and the neighbours started to talk to each other about it. And not everyone had it, because it was a programme from the social housing landlord and couldn't afford to do everybody, but it was a number of sort of few hundred households. But that really started to shift quite quickly about that legitimacy around that they why would they not have solar panels in that community, and started to talk to their neighbours about it and so on.
Did you find that the landlords or the council, whoever you were dealing with, did they engage easily, or did it take a bit of persuasion?
No, they had their own kind of programme about engagement. What I found from the research is that some households found the information they were giving helpful, others didn't, and kind of threw it in the bin. So it was kind of mixed. It was mixed sort of evidence around that. But what I did find was that when I actually started talking to the social housing landlord about some of the findings I was having from these families, this qualitative in-depth research, they were really receptive to that, completely receptive, and wanted to hear how they could improve their next solar rollout. And we sort of talked about addressing some of the issues that was raised by the research, and we decided that it was best place to put in a booklet. And I then sort of volunteered to write the booklet for them, sort of based on the research. I drafted it, I shared it with the families and got their feedback on that. And then that booklet was turned into a publication that I jointly produced with the City Council, and that was then distributed to several hundred households.
So having got all the data that you got, what happened to that now, and how does that legacy then carry on?
Having produced the booklet, and really it was about knowledge sharing with those sort of families, and the families are really keen to share what they'd learnt with other people, so if other people could benefit. They'll realise they were fortunate to be given these solar panels because there wasn't enough to everyone in the community to have solar panels, so they really wanted to share their knowledge so other people within their community could benefit. Having produced the booklet, I then worked with a county council and another borough council who were also having a solar PV programme to share that knowledge with them, and that helped them inform their solar PV. And they also produced a leaflet based on the material we produced with the research. On top of that, there was a fuel poverty event, a public event, where I was asked if I could contribute some material based on the research, and I, having got permission from the families, I used their voices and some of their stories to sort of tell the difference between living on a prepayment meter without solar and then the difference it had with the solar panels. So we turned it into a 7-minute YouTube film that can be watched on the Science Policy Research Unit website.
Brilliant. So what next for Nicolette Fox?
Well, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's been a privilege to work with those families and who gave me so much of their time over 10 months, which was fantastic, and it really has produced material that I don't think has sort of been in that format before. What I'm now doing is working with another community project with the City Council, with the water company, and with a National Consumer Council to look at some of these issues about how we move from energy to water sector to engage households around that particular resource, and whether we can take this idea of following people's journeys and some of their stories of change and share that within their community and beyond, to kind of inspire other people to perhaps also take on board some of these changes. So really what I'm interested in is not just the top-down information. That's really important. People know how to need to know how to do certain things, but actually it's kind of with bottom-up kind of knowledge sharing that can also inspire people. So it's kind of using that kind of model, both top-down and bottom-up. So I hope we'll be doing that with the water project.